Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, pranams to you. Professor M.D. Srinivas noted that we have to learn from ancient texts, ancient practices to run our economy even today. He is very right. We have a lot of learnings which we have to take up from our ancient texts and practices. And our friend Sandeep ji discussed about the importance of temple economy, and then he also mentioned as to how economic activities evolve around the basic requirements of the people, depending upon the ground realities. In fact, I have seen in the last 75 years after independence, in all our studies across Bharat, all these economic centers, industrial centers, business centers, agricultural centers, we all call them as clusters, where hundreds of units engaged in different activities are situated. They are called clusters. There are more than 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 clusters in India at Bharat today. We don't have the exact counts. In all these clusters, the business units, industrial establishments have come up on their own based on the requirements of the people. We take, for example, Rajkot. Rajkot, Saurashtra region was a dry place. So in those days, in 1950s, 60s, they were using only these diesel engines to dig water from the land. So they were using diesel engines manufactured by a British company called Leicester. The brand name of the company was Leicester. So they were using it in the 1960s for four Patels, farmers. There was a repair in that diesel engine. So they disassembled it and then made some corrections, assembled it again. It was successful. They thought, why don't we make our own machines? So this is how diesel engine industry started. So after a few months, the director sitting in London realized that there was sales going down in western part of Bharat in the 1960s. So they came down to Bharat, went to Mumbai, Maharashtra state at that time, then Gujarat, the present day Gujarat. They found out that the local people were making much better machines. So they told them, if you want to make this diesel engine, you have to give royalty to us. These people did not understand. Then they said, if you want to use our name, you have to give money to us. They refused, and that is how Field Marshal was born. We all know, I come from Coimbatore, Western Tamilnadu, when we were all young children, 70s, 80s. Every factory, we were using only this Field Marshal. Gujarat made diesel engines. So, based out of the need, our people develop industries. And all of us know today, Rajkot is one of the best engineering centers in the entire world. So, if we go to this Rajkot Small Scale Industry Association, they have a quotation by Ford Motors chairman in those days. He said, whenever there is a new automobile emerges anywhere in the world, whether it is Germany or Switzerland, within 4 months, 3-4 months, Rajkot people will make spare parts, the best spare parts in the world. So, this is how the so-called ordinary Indians create enterprises out of necessities. I come from Tamil Nadu. In those days, betel nut leaves were coming from Salem region of Tamil Nadu to Maharashtra to northern parts of India. So they were carrying betel nuts through bullock carts in the 1950s and 60s. So one of them thought, why don't we buy lorry and then take this betel leaves to railway station, Salem railway station, so that, things can move fast. So, some 5 of them joined together, purchase a lorry, and then take the betel nuts to Salem. That was the seed. And today, there are 2 towns in Salem region, Namakkal and Sangagiri. These 2 are the Bharat's 2 top transport clusters. 2 top transport clusters. We see LPG lorries plying throughout Bharat. LPG lorries. Namakkal owns almost 50 to 60% of the LPG lorries. We see these 16-tier, 14-tier long lorries. The Sangagiri, another nearby town, they own the largest number of these long lorries. So over a period of 40, 50 years, they have grown to be top two transport clusters of Bharat. And I can give examples. This is how in the last 50, 60, 70 years, Bharat has been growing. If we see the history, we all know Bharat has always remained as a prosperous country. We all know through the youngest medicine studies how in the last 2 millennia, 2000 years, previous 2000 years, for almost 85% of the time, Bharat remained as the most powerful nation in the world, economic power in the world. And in a period of just 180 years, about $45 trillion worth of wealth was taken away from Bharat. If you calculate in present terms, 2 times the present US GDP of United States of America, it's around 26, 24 trillion. So 2 times worth of US GDP was taken out. So we became poor, we were made poor, less literate nation by the colonialists. But you see, in a period of just 7 decades, we have become the third largest economy in the world in terms of PPP. We are the fastest growing economy in the world today, and we have the largest number of entrepreneurs. We are the most potential economic power today in the world. Just 70 years, 70, 75 years. In the history of the world, no other country has made such a U-turn in a period of just 75 years. Why? Bharatiya economy is unique. We have very strong fundamentals, which other countries do not have. You know, this is the wisdom acquired over thousands of years of experiences. So if we see the Bharatiya economy, you know, throughout our studies in the last 30 years across Bharat, we have seen we have strong fundamentals. Family system plays the most dominant role in all Indian economic, business and social activities. You know, if we see, for example, savings have always remained high in Bharat. Even in 1950-51, when Bharat started collecting official data, macroeconomic data for the first time, our saving rate was 9.1%. 9.1%. At that time, 40%, more than 40% of the people were living below poverty line. So even when half of our people were living below poverty line, we were saving 9.1%. Today, many of the richest countries, so-called rich countries, cannot imagine 9% saving. They have 3%, 4%, 5% saving only. So why this is so? Because our own parents, they always feel that it is their duty to save as much money as possible so that they can give better education to their children, so that they can create small enterprises which will bring fortune to their next generation. So as a result, savings are always high in Bharat. We all know during the last 10, 15 years, average saving is around 30% of the GDP. Even when our people go outside and live in alien countries, our savings remain high. If we see the World Migration Report every year, we see the remittances by Bharatiyas, NRI remittances, are the highest in the world. Last year, 2023, $125 billion were sent by our own people from across the world to Bharat. So wherever our people go saving, because it is part and parcel of our life system. It is not just that. Because of the savings, higher savings, more and more small businesses are getting promoted. We all know that today there are about 65 million small businesses, 6.5 crore small businesses, employing about 12.5 crore people. So, how this is possible? This is because of our saving. And because of the family system, more and more capital is mobilized through the family system, through the network of families, etc. So this is one important fundamentals that we have that is helping our economy to grow. Second, if you see our society, you know, we believe in Vasudeva Kudumbakam. So the extension of families are communities, including jatis. So these jatis have a very important role to play. They are playing a very important role in economic development. Jatis play a very important role in two aspects. One is in social harmony, bringing, in keeping relationships. Second, in all economic activities. So in economic activities, there is cooperation and competition within and among communities. Only in the case of politics, when we take jatis to politics, it creates problems. But in the case of economics, it is beneficial in many ways. Professor MDS spoke about, agricultural surplus being invested in businesses in ancient times. We have seen in the last 50, 60 years, most of the businesses, most of the business clusters were built by agricultural communities. They are new baniyas. They are agricultural communities. So whether it is Patels of Gujarat or Gaundas and Nadars of Tamilnadu or other agricultural communities, maybe Reddys here, they all invest their agricultural surpluses, as a result of which now economy is growing through businesses. So the social capital which we have in abundance in Bharat is helping us to grow economically. Social capital is the tendency to treat others as one's own, believing others. In the Western countries, particularly in America, Fukuyama, the famous social scientist, has established that wherever there is a trust deficit, when people do not believe others, those economies don't grow. Those societies do not live in peace. That is what is happening in the Western societies. But fortunately, in spite of several problems here, we are able to do it because we have enormous social capital as a nation. And the social capital develops its own systems. I'll give one example. In southern part of Tamil Nadu, there is a community called the Nadar community. They are originally Palmyra climbers. They climb the Palmyra tree and then tap the toddy. That was their original activity 70, 80 years back. They wanted to enter into businesses, they did not have money. So they established a system of their own called Mahamai. Amman deity, Amman is the Kali. Amman deity is their main deity. So wherever they settled down in all their villages, they went before their deity and took a vow. They decided that out of every 1 rupee, 1 paise or half a paise will be saved commonly. And this is how they created a system called Mahamai. Through this Mahamai system, they started giving funds to the aspiring entrepreneurs, as a result of which, today they are one of the most entrepreneurial communities in Bharat. We all know there is one Tamilnadu Mercantile Bank. At one time, it was Asia's largest profit-making bank, was promoted by them. And they are there in all parts of Bharat, in this retail trade, and they are into many, many activities. Clusters like Sivakasi, Virudhunagar. Even today, they are the largest firecrack manufacturers. About 60 to 70% of Bharat's firecracks are manufactured by them. So they all come from ordinary jatis, and they evolved their own system, as a result of which, we are seeing economic progress. And Bharatiyas by nature are highly entrepreneurial. In fact, we have seen in many, many places that in the last 70 years, people have built, the so-called ordinary people have built enterprises, clusters, different types of enterprises, and this is all due to their hard work, the dedication, sacrifice of the family as a whole, and they come from very ordinary backgrounds. They do not have good financial backup. They do not have, particularly the original promoters, they did not have good educational background. But all of them have promoted their units, as a result of which today you see the economic progress everywhere. And we generally have a feeling that the ordinary people of Bharat has no these innovative abilities. It is not like that. In fact, Department of Science and Technology a few years back had noted that 30% of the innovations in Bharat takes place through what we call illiterates. So in all the clusters we have seen a lot of innovations taking place even today. And the fourth important fundamental of Bharat for economic progress is role of women, our own mothers and sisters. We have a feeling that only when women sit in corporate boardrooms or in elite places, they contribute to the economy. No, the ordinary women of India has more economic wisdom than professors like us. We have seen this everywhere. Wherever we go and meet the entrepreneurs, they tell us that, sir, it is because of our mother. It is because of our wives. It's because of my grandmother. It's because of my sisters. We have grown so much. I'll just mention one study for want of time. You might have seen Arya Bhavan, Ananda Bhavan, Vasanta Bhavan hotels everywhere throughout Bharat. Now they are there throughout the world. The promoters of these hotels come from 12 villages in central Tamilnadu. 12 villages. In fact, they were forced to enter this hotel industry because they did not have anything to do. And when we conducted a study among them, 21% of the promoters said, when we wanted any funds, initial capital, banks were not willing to give. So it is our sisters who compelled their husbands to give funds, and because of those funds, we promoted this industry unit. So can we believe in the 21st century, sisters helping their brothers to come up in business? So we don't see even a single sentence in economic textbooks describing the role of women. But everywhere we go, we see people telling us the contribution of mothers, grandmothers, etc. So it is, Bharatiya economy is women-driven economy. And what is the reason for these fundamentals? It is our culture. The cultural and civilizational strengths of Bharat is helping us even today in the 21st century to drive the economy. There was an economist by name John Kenneth Galbraith, an American. He was ambassador of United States to Bharat when Jawaharlal Nehru was the prime minister in 1960s. So he was here for 3 years. Then after his tenure was over, he went back. After 40 years, almost 40 years, he came back again, some 20 years back. He traveled across Bharat, and before he leaving for Bharat, he said it in an interview, I am witnessing the development of Bharat over the last 50, 60 years. The development is not due to the government policy, it is due to the ingenuity of the people of this land and the culture of this land. So culture plays the most dominant role, but unfortunately, we don't take this into account. We try to follow only the Western theories, but the realities are something different. In fact, our own experience have proved that the economics is a byproduct of Bharatiya culture. It is not the other way. Economic is a byproduct of the Bharatiya culture. This we have to understand. So it is time for us to understand that culture plays the dominant role in the Bharatiya economics. So my appeal to the universities is that to study the ground realities, to study as to how economics is influenced by the wisdom generated over thousands of years, and then we have to compel the policy makers, government, to frame policies based on the ground realities. In the last 5-10 years, we have seen government taking up steps to initiate policies based on the realities. We are realizing the benefits. For example, when government introduced this Janadana scheme in 2015, people were skeptical. They were saying that it might not succeed. But now, the very poor people of this country have more than 2,20,000 deposits in bank. 54-55 crores of accounts have been opened. This is just one example. So the policy makers should make policies based on the ground realities. That is my submission. Matru Shakti has always been playing a major role in economic activities. That's what I believe, even though I have not studied in detail about how in the ancient societies women were playing a role in economics. Naturally, they should have played. But I know in the contemporary period, I don't have time, otherwise I would have explained to you, women of India, our mothers and sisters of India, play a very, very critical role. In any family, if an important financial decision, investment decision is taken, naturally it is in consultation with the either mother or wife or the women folk. So many times it is they who drive, and when the man fails in a business enterprise, it is a woman who supports first. Women who supports. I know how the grandmothers have supported. There is a very important businessman, hosiery manufacturer in Tirupur. Twice he failed in business, and both the times grandmother helped him. As a result, today he is the largest domestic player in India. He is the president of the South India Hosiery Manufacturers Association. You might have seen Anand Banians advertisement. So Iswaran, promoter, is this person who was supported by his grandmother. Women play the most dominant role in Indian economy today.